listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
And I don't like it. It's just bad. But one thing he can do is probably call Billy Donovan and help him find some Bulls players. Because right now, dog, it's like the ER unit over at the Madhouse. For real, like, dude, each week it's getting ridiculously silly now. And the hope and prayer is nothing happens to DeRozan. Because if DeRozan goes down, it's a wrap. This season is over. We've already seen Vooch sucks. I mean, he sucks. His feet just get stuck like right there. It's like he's trying to move and then they just like, no.
Vooch has been inconsistent this season, to say the least, because, like I said, he'll have a long streak of whatever, and then all of a sudden he'll shock you with a triple-double game of
right.
30 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 blocks. It's phenomenal. I think you're on to something, though, because we first had the COVID outbreak. And now we've got the injury outbreak. The good news is most of those injuries have not been serious. So they should be fine after the All-Star break, in theory. If they can get healthy and stay healthy. Got an interesting shot at everything. I mean, they have shown tremendous grit and the ability to put games away at late times of the game. And that's what builds championships, not necessarily that you have a high win record, but that you have the ability to play it down the stretch and play it in your favor. They've done that, tremendously, better than I've seen any team this season.
I'm not really worried about the win-loss record. Everybody's going on about them being number one. You're like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. I don't need you to be number one. I need you to be there at the end of the dance. I need you somehow to figure out how you're going to beat Milwaukee.
Yeah,
they had a really good showing until Grayson Allen decided.
Oh my God,
they were playing Mortal Kombat. Like, dude. So they did hang with them, and you were missing some pieces, which made it giving you that 4 extra points.
Yeah,
but you've got to figure out how to not get blasted by the Nets because, like, they destroyed them. Yes, you jumped on the first 2 times. Now that third time, it was payback. And you got to stop getting whipped by the Warriors. Now, I don't think they see the Warriors again this year. I don't believe that.
Who ain't getting whipped by the Warriors?
No, they get mollywopped by the Warriors. Like, it's like a 40-point deficit by the end of the first quarter.
True.
You're like, how do you have a -4? How is that even possible in basketball? You can't have a negative number. They do. So if the Bulls can get now, this whole thing about them trying to get Jeremy Grant from Detroit.
I don't like that.
I don't even know what kind of assets you have to kind of even make that move.
No, they're in the same position as the Lakers are. They have nothing to offer. Maybe Kobe White, maybe Patrick Williams, if somebody wants them.
My whole thing is, if you watch basketball, do you want Kobe White and Patrick Williams?
You only want Kobe White and Patrick Williams for one reason: to rebuild your team with just enough adequacy to where you still respect yourself at the end of the day. But if your team is already that bad, what do you have to offer? And they keep hyping up Jeremy Grant. Yes, he's having a great season with a team of nobodies. Right. So somebody's got to step up and do it. Is that gonna equate over to the Bulls system? I don't think so.
I mean, he's been a defender and he's played defense. Now, I have 2 people. One person who was with the Bulls, who they had to move at the season, and then you got like Paul Millsap. I know it sounds crazy. He's 36. He's old. Thaddeus Young. He's old. He's not young. But those are the type you need at that 4 position. You need somebody who can settle down everything and can actually play the 5 and let Vooch kind of do whatever Vooch does. Like, go ahead. I got you. Don't worry about that.
I agree, because if you had Paul Millsap for all his wear and tear, I guarantee you Grayson Allen would have thought twice before making that move.
Oh, yes, sir.
There's a point in the game where it's like, okay, take on the other end, Mr. Portis on that team. You're gonna think twice before you try to go after one of their.
Are you with me?
Exactly. Exactly. You get an enforcer out there, you don't have to worry about those silly fouls, because if you do commit it's going to be poetic justice in the next play.
You're going to get hands laid upon thou with great ferocity from above.
Yeah, furious anger.
Furious anger. I mean, you're going to get choked out. It's going to be one of, like, that's why I want my man from Brooklyn, used to be with the Bulls, because I need a karate expert. I want James Jones out there. Like, if you try that again, for real, he's going to hi-ya you. He's going to be like, hi-ya! And you're going to be like, what was that? And then you just see a player down. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. I think that's what the Bulls need. No more young boys.
Yeah.
Maybe they can
get Steven Adams or somebody. I don't know.
Now, you poo-pooing it. Boy, Steven Adams is like a big brick. You run into him, that's an oak tree.
He's picking up Bulls players and stopping fights. So, I mean, picking up grown men like it's nothing. Like, hey, man, let's keep playing ball.
Right. And he's cool with it. Like, man, I just want to chill. Come on, let's play ball. But if you do it again, I'll punch you in the face. And you're like, oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So we fixed that. We fix all of NFL. We fixed the Bears. Now we're fixing the Bulls. But the last thing, Rich, before we get out of here, we got to fix MLB. We got to fix the fact that I love Big Papi. I love Big Papi. That's my dude.
We can't fix history. Let's try to fix history.
But come on now. I mean, all right. I'm not a big Roger Clemens fan, but I am a big Barry Bonds fan. And I don't care what you say. Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer, and maybe Sammy Sosa could be.
Okay.
Sammy Sosa can never be a Hall of Famer.
Why not?
Because he did this too much. He did that too much.
That got nothing to do with his game, though.
Yeah, it was offensive. It was offensive.
That ain't got nothing to do with his game, though.
His game was marginal. It was marginal.
Marginal?
It's okay. I mean,
him and Mark McGwire went into one of the greatest home run derbies of all time.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But I'm not vying for this, though. Honestly, I'm not. I don't. I kind of side with the MLB on this. Take a stand.
How dare you?
Yes, take a stand and stand on it. The same way that you stood against Pete Rose.
Oh yeah.
For his legal problems. See, let's not negate the whole thing about this. Most of those guys, it wasn't the fact that they used steroids or didn't use steroids, it's that they lied about it.
True.
They had to face perjury and all kind of federal trials and things like that. Sports is a $1 billion, potentially $1 trillion industry. A lot goes into it. Kids have their hearts built up from the time they're born. Some of these people die at the age of 100 years old, still thinking they can play this game. You can't just take that lightly for granted. So when you go out and they say, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. Okay, boss. And you do it, you don't do it. If you lie about it, you get caught about it, this, and that. That has consequence to it. You knew what that was going on. Like I said, I agree. These are people I watched as kids. When I was playing baseball, trying to do all that. One of the reasons I stopped playing baseball was because I didn't want to get tangled up into all the whole, I got to take this substance, take that substance. People don't understand the prep time that it takes to actually be a professional athlete. It's getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, working out and doing two or three practices, eating this, eating that. Maybe not this particular substance is not on the list, so we'll take this and do that. Maybe we can get away with doing. There's a whole lot to it that people don't really talk about like that. But those people that do make it into that next level, they got to keep going and keep going and keep going. But then you find another level that goes against that level that you already know is completely forbidden, and that's a problem. I understand and I get it. Everybody wants to defeat Father Time. There's no way to beat Father Time. It's going to happen to you. You get there to your prime, then you don't have it no more. It is what it is. So I have a certain amount of respect for Major League Baseball for standing on that foundation and say, listen, we want to keep the integrity of what we have going on. We can't ignore that this is part of our history. It is part of the history. But you also can't sit there and say, well, this person didn't do this person didn't do that. We can think of many names of people that we knew were bad people, like Al Capone, for example. Al Capone has one criminal thing on his record, tax evasion.
All right. That's what he was convicted of.
But what is he known for?
Slapping heads around.
Being the biggest mobster in America.
Kicking babies and kissing ladies.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So in perspective, when you say Barry Bonds, you think steroids.
Oh, I thought you were going to say mob. I was like, I didn't know he was in the mob.
No, I'm just saying, when you think of Barry Bonds, you think steroid. When you think of Sammy Sosa, you think steroids and some other stuff. When you think Mark McGwire, you think steroids. You know, first thing you think of is not Hall of Fame. And that's where it's kind of like, if you think of Michael Jordan, you think of Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
When you think of Larry Bird, you think of Hall of Fame. You know, when you start thinking of other players, like, you know, hey, David Ortiz, yeah, Hall of Fame. But you don't think of anything, you know, criminal about it. We're talking about criminal things.
But Big Papi admitted he took some little substances, some little things just to help him get by. So did Alex Rodriguez. I mean, there were people who said, you know, I took a little something, you know, help me. Yeah.
But they said they did.
Right. Oh, I see where you're going with this.
They took their L. Okay, hey, listen, there's plenty of football players did the same thing. They took the little slap on the wrist. Yeah, I took this, I took that, and they got right back in the fight. And the story was over. These people are still claiming they didn't take steroids or they didn't do this, they didn't that, and we all know you did.
So now that he's off the list, is there a way to get back on, or you just like off forever?
I don't know, but I don't agree with that. Now, that's the part I don't agree with. If they're off the list mainly because of legal things, I don't agree with that. If the thing that's keeping you off the list is not your performance and it's something outside, I feel like that they should still be somewhat eligible, because what's keeping them off the list is something that didn't have much to do technically with their game overall. It's hard to say whether what their career would be like with the steroids, about the steroids, if they did, if they didn't. You know, kind of like with Pete Rose, it's hard to say where his career would have been if he hadn't been gambling and things like that. Right. So I feel like there should be some kind of asterisk there, like, hey, let's revisit this. Maybe in 20 years, we will allow this substance or whatever else like that they're using and things like that. But like I said, I don't knock the MLB for holding that stance and not letting them in based on criminal actions and things like that.
Well, you know, one thing that would be criminal before we get out of here is we don't recognize that you have a new fresh haircut and that you got your do right. So you got to give a shout out to your barber, your man. Tell the people who you go to, because you got you fresh today.
Oh, man, I see LaWanda and No Limit Cuts, you know, right there on 15th and Chase. She's been taking care of me for over 20 years.
Boy, stop. Get out of here.
I think I was like her first customer.
You all are thick and thin. Ooh,
I'm a loyal person, man. Hey,
I see.
Ain't no wavering with me.
Hey, man, 20 years. That's a long time, bro.
Your friend to the end, I'm your customer to the end. As long as you do me right, we good.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, man, you know, it's always time to go because you got to go. I got to go. We got to go. But I think we got a lot covered. I think the only thing we need to talk about next is, you know, there's some more information coming out that the Big Ten could get rid of divisions. So there's some things getting ready to jump off in sports. It's not just football, but, you know, we got to talk a lot more. And we've got to figure out what's going to happen with the Bears in their head coaching search. Like, once they get a head coach, do you go young? Do you go old? We don't know. And we won't know probably for a couple of days. But
I've heard what we do know is Poles has the decision on that, though.
Yes.
Good thing.
Yes, and I heard some really good information about somebody coming in to replace a higher up in the Bears organization. That could be interesting. That could be spicy. That could be very spicy. So we're going to talk all about that, man. We're going to chop it all up. You know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle here in the building. You know what we've come to do, and that's bring you the hottest sports talk in the region, in the area, in the world. And you know what? We'll see you on the other side. Remember, you can always catch the Sizzle's Hot 5 and 5 right here on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television. Make sure that you subscribed and share this information with someone. Hit the button, the like button, to make sure that you are leaving those like comments. And hey, down below, tell us what you're thinking. Tell us some things you want us to look at, and make sure that you're looking for a brand new episode of The Sizzle, the hottest talk in the 219. Remember, I'm G Sizzle, and I will see you on the other side.
Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iron Skillet Sports. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Iron Skillet Sports on YouTube at Iron Skillet Sports.